My name is Gretchen Whitmer. I am a lifelong Michigander. I am proud to be from Michigan because this was the state where people used to come to for opportunity. In Michigan, you knew you could get a good paying job and raise your family up and retire with dignity here. You knew that your kids, no matter what community you lived in, were gonna get a phenomenal public school education. You knew that you could turn on the tap and the water coming out of it would be clean and safe for your family. And in Michigan, we used to know how to build the roads well so that you'd be safe on the roads. Right now I look around at Michigan and my kids are growing up and my daughters are freshmen and sophomore in high school in East Lansing, and the Michigan you guys have grown up in hardly looks like the Michigan I described when I talk about my pride. We got a lot of work to do. It starts with electing a governor who's actually gonna make education a priority, who's ready to fix the roads and take on anyone who stands in our way, because those are the most important issues that families are facing in Michigan. This is smart. I wish more events did this way. All right.
As a collective, we had decided to focus on the issue of lack of resources in our schools. How do you believe you can contribute to this issue, and what are your plans?
Okay, so I served in the Michigan legislature for 14 years, and during that time, I was a champion on behalf of education and education funding. In Michigan, we have one family on the western side of the state that is basically dictating education policy, and I'm talking about the DeVos family. Because of what they have advocated over the years, we've seen a continuous raid on the school aid fund. Our education system is funded in one part of the budget that is called the school aid fund. Right now, over $1 billion is being taken out of your education every single year, because our leaders have been listening more to the DeVos family than to the families of this state. If we had another $1 billion a year that was dedicated to your schools, I guarantee we wouldn't be showing up dead last in our country on the metrics that matter. And so that's my commitment, is that those school aid fund dollars go to our schools, and that would be a major investment in the schools that you care about and you attend.
All right. Next question. What is your stance on charter schools and privatization of public schools?
I've always thought that the best way to level the playing field for any child is a good education and a good educational start. It looks different in different communities. You know, we do have lots of different options for people right now, but right now, none of them are really meeting the needs of our young people in Michigan. We're ranking in the back of the pack where we used to lead the world. Charter schools, I think, are probably here to stay, but we need a governor who is going to make sure that they're working for the kids who attend them. Michigan is very out of line with the rest of the world in that 84% of our charter schools are for-profit. The national average is actually 16% of charter schools are for-profit. So you can see how Michigan is so different than the rest of the country, where charters' motivation is to save money and so not to get money into the classroom. So I recognize that there are some charters that are working, and we should continue to have charters that work, but where schools aren't working, we shouldn't continue letting companies make money off of the education that's not serving our kids.
What will you do to improve schools?
First and foremost, I am going to make sure that all of those school aid fund dollars go into the schools. That is a massive improvement in terms of what we see in the classroom. Second, we've got to elevate the profession of teaching and start treating teachers and parapros and bus drivers and cafeteria workers with respect again. They have been demoralized and demeaned for years under the current governor and the current legislature and the DeVos agenda in Michigan. So making sure that our schools are successful, we got to have great teachers in the classroom, but we've also got to wrap kids around with the supports they need to make sure everyone's reading by the end of third grade. This governor, his solution when kids aren't reading is to shut schools down and abandon families. That won't happen under my watch. We will give greater investment to schools with higher poverty so that kids have literacy coaches and social workers and nurses and counselors so that they've got the supports they need to be successful.
How important do you think student voice is in shaping your plan for the school system, and how do you plan to incorporate it?
Student voice, okay. Extremely important. And you know, right now, the Michigan legislature makes all the decisions based on your curriculum, based on when your school starts for the fall. and everything in between. And you know who rarely is consulted when those decisions are made? Students, educators, principals, superintendents, people who know what's actually happening in the school every single day. In Michigan, the law has been for quite a while that schools can't start until after Labor Day. Do you know why that's the law in Michigan right now? Because the tourism season. We're making decisions, just even based on your calendar, around what's good for the tourism industry. Any decision that impacts your education should be based on what's in the best interest of your education. And you know what? You should have a voice in that process. As governor, you will.
How much money per pupil do you think is adequate for equitable education in all schools?
So adequate is a hard word to define, because there's equal, and there's equitable, and there's adequate. Here's what I know. Right now, our Republican governor and Republican attorney general have been in court saying that kids do not have a constitutional right to literacy. That's what they say. Right now, in Michigan, we have an adequacy study that has come out that says we are underfunding your education to the tune of thousands of dollars per pupil. Right now, we have gross disparities between districts of how much they get per pupil. And also right now, what we know is that a child in a high poverty district is more expensive to educate, just by virtue of being in a higher poverty district. We need to have a weighted foundation allowance that takes that into account and elevates the per pupil allotment. Adequate means that we have weighted it and that we've increased it across the board.
Okay.
Can we just interject? We have a question on the side about something you said a little earlier.
Okay.
Alright, so you mentioned that to improve our schools, you'll get teachers and nurses and literacy coaches, etc. So how will you get these people? Because I remember a few years ago there was a shortage on teachers, and there still is.
Yep.
And not many people want to come to Michigan because of how bad, a lot of teachers want to come here because of how bad our education system is. So how will you get them to come here? How will you find them?
Are we timing the answer on this question? Okay. Okay, so by elevating the teachers and educators through a governor who understands that they are professionals and treats them like professionals, who will pay them what they deserve so that they can put food on the table. We have teachers in Michigan that they're on the bridge card. You're working full-time, you took on debt to get a degree, and it's something that is a passion, it's a calling, and yet you can't even put food on the table. So we're gonna pay teachers better. We're gonna help others go into education by helping them with the debt that they take on, to alleviate that debt, and to give scholarships to people that go into education. And we're gonna give them the kind of external supports that incentivize, going into districts that have greater need, right? If there are things that are happening in some urban districts that I think we can replicate statewide to draw talented people to go into the districts that need them the most.
Do you plan to have more useful and helpful after-school programs?
Yes. Yes, I recognize that having the ability for students to participate in programs, maybe it's even programs that get you toward a degree or a certificate that we could offer after school. That's so crucial for so many kids, and especially kids in high poverty districts, to have opportunities. It helps the family. It could also include things like coaching, literacy coaching, or tutoring. So I think that there are a lot of good ideas that are already being done in other areas that we could steal and replicate here in Michigan. We don't have to invent the wheel on all of the issues that we're facing. We need to just find best practices and replicate them here and fund them, give them the resources so they can be successful.
We have time for one more question.
Detroit has the lowest test scores in the US. As governor, how do you plan to rectify this?
Well, I'm paying attention very closely to what Dr. Beebe is doing. think it's very important that we recognize we didn't get here overnight, and we can't miraculously overnight fix it with one solution. There are a lot of pieces that need to be a part of this. But first and foremost, it goes back to what you're all working on, right? It's about investing in your education. The most important investment I think we as a society can make is in the public school system and in the educational system. So when we do that, when we have smaller class sizes, when we have great teachers in the classroom, when kids have the supports they need, those wraparound supports, that's when you create an environment where kids are learning. And that will be seen in the test scores, but that has to happen first. It's not about changing the curriculum, it's not about penalties, it's about giving kids the support they need to be successful.
What are your top 3 priorities for Michigan schools?
Sorry, Diego, we're out of time.